This is Ryan from blazingwonders.com, and today is a big day. We are going to be putting in our flares. Before we can do that, we have to cut out the sides. It's a little bit of a stressful moment when you're looking at cutting a hole this size in the side of the van and the price of getting it wrong. We did dry fit the flares before and then taped around them. I'm gonna, in order to keep metal shavings from getting onto the side of the van, I'm gonna put a sheet of plastic. It does outline very nicely with this upper corner. And then what's also helpful from a guide perspective, from what I've seen online, is to go ahead and trim it out in the tape, so that when you go to put it up with the caulking material, it has a nice guide, so you don't have to move it around that much. Inside, we're just going to be following this radius. You can see I've marked each of these support members that we'll be cutting through. Originally I was going to do this with the nibbler, but the issue with the nibbler is that it's going to be cutting about a ½ inch in. And for the flares it's probably not a problem, but for the windows could be an issue when we put those in later. But I'm going to go ahead and use a jigsaw, which most people seem to use. So I plan to trade out a jigsaw blade after each cutout, just to make sure that it's sharp. The key with the jigsaw is to cut some holes. Step bit's really nice for this, into the corners, so that you can get the jigsaw blade and make these radiuses without too much trouble. There is some interference up here with the jigsaw. The other thing you have to watch out for is make sure the jigsaw is either long enough or resting flat, because what you don't want to have happen is the blade come out and then wrinkle or push on this sheet metal. It is pretty thin, and you don't want to cause issues for the outside appearance when you're doing this. Anyway, we're ready to go. Wish us luck. We're ready to start the second cutout for the driver's side flare. This is the jigsaw that I was using, and here are the blades. Very thin metal Bosch blades, 36 teeth per inch. These are a little short, so you just have to be careful not to pull the saw out. One area that I really did struggle with a bit, I'm going to drill some more holes in the second one, is up here, up in this upper radius. It's just a lot of interference for getting the jigsaw up there, and I had to pull the blade out just a little bit to make this, but these whole cutouts are fine. There's a lot of tolerance on the flares, so you don't have to get this perfect. It just has to be close. So going to cut out the other one, file the edges, prime, scuff up the outside edges here and the inside edges of the flare, and we should be ready to go. Alright, so now both of the cutouts are cut out, and what I've done is I've taken a metal file, I've gone through and I just knocked off any of the sharp shavings, kind of filed it down, and then next I'm going to prime these edges. I'm just using a Rust-Oleum primer. This is a self-etching primer that etches and primes the metal in one step. Not too worried about the etching piece, but the priming piece is nice. I'm just going to spray this outside so I don't get overspray into this, and then I'll take the foam brush and just kind of go around the metal edge so that there's no exposed metal. I'll do 2 coats on this. We are at the point where we are going to attach the flares. You can see the tape. This is special body masking tape, but you can use the blue tape too. We've scuffed up and cleaned with denatured alcohol the sides, and we did go back and do a little bit more because the overlap is a little bit more, particularly on this inside edge. We want to make sure that we have good adhesion with our adhesive to the surface of the van. We already have this upholstered. Let's see, it was quarter inch foam. Yep. Then we have Marathon Gray, and then we have taken 220 grit sandpaper to the edge, both of the van as well as to the flare, and then cleaned the edges. Next up will be applying the caulk and then putting this up to the surface of the van. Don't mess up.